Hey friends, what's up? Ethan here, and welcome back to the channel. In case you missed it, a number of colleges and universities have added a diversity prompt, and I'm going to use that term broadly. Essentially, the Supreme Court decided to ban race-conscious admissions, which means that colleges aren't going to know what your race is if you're applying, but colleges still want to enroll a diverse population of students, so this essay is their attempt to figure out what kind of diversity are you bringing. Now, is this only about race? Not necessarily. In this video, I want to walk you through how you can figure out what diversity means for you particularly. I'm going to talk to you about the most common prompts that I've seen after surveying a whole bunch of these. And then I'm going to give you like a little step-by-step analysis of essays that have worked and how you can write your own essay to answer this. All right, let's go. So step one, are we just talking about race here? No, not necessarily. So when we're talking about diversity, we're talking about all the interesting experiences, identities, superpowers that you possess. And if you're watching this video and you're like, I don't know what those are or how to find those, good news, I got an exercise. It's below this video. It's called the If You Really, Really Knew Me exercise. And essentially it's gonna walk you through a series of 10 questions, and there's a little, music in the background and stuff. And it's gonna help you basically figure out what are those sides of yourself that you wanna bring to a college campus. Now, how is that going to be useful? Well, I looked at more than like 75 different prompts, and many of these new prompts are asking some version of what is it that you're going to bring to a college campus. But a lot of them have a second part, which is like, okay, and then how are you going to manifest that identity or skill or superpower on our campus in particular? So let me give an example of what one of these prompts look like. And this is from Harvard, but a lot of them sound similar. Harvard has long recognized the importance of enrolling a diverse student body. How will the life experiences that shape who you are today enable you to contribute to Harvard? So, how do you write this? Step one, you got to figure out all about you. And what I mean by that is brainstorm using the If You Really, Really Knew Me exercise to figure out a whole bunch of stuff that you could potentially talk about. Part one. Part two, you're gonna need to learn some things about the school, which is to say you're gonna need to do that like why us research, which is to say go on the school's website and spend a lot of time, and by a lot of time I mean like at least half an hour or 45 minutes, finding specific programs, professors, classes, clubs that will connect to all the things that you're interested in. Step three is pretty obvious. You're gonna take all the awesome things about you and you're gonna connect them to particular things at the school. What does this sound like? Let me give you an example. And this is not for Harvard, this was for a different school, but you'll get how this works. I believe in the power of small acts of service. After witnessing the plight of Middle Eastern migrant workers left at sunrise in desert mountains with nothing but a broom, a bottle of water, and a single meal to last the day, I felt helpless. Globalization often comes at the cost of thousands of immigrant lives, but the realization that there was little I could do to ease their anguish affected me deeply. In that moment, I found my calling as an advocate. So what this student has done is they've gone overseas, they've had an experience, and it's left a big impact. And what they're tapping into is their identity as an advocate. And they're setting up the moment that started it all. Now, if you're listening to this and you're like, I haven't had such a trip, stay with me. I'll talk to you in just a second. When I returned home, I was determined to give back to my own community. Working at the New Jersey Help Center has enabled me to spend a lot of time with immigrant families like mine, translating applications for housing aid and health insurance while immersing myself in stories of their escapes from war-torn countries and crippling economies. Soon I realized how great an impact small exchanges could have. So the second part here is the students talking about stuff that they've done to begin doing this work. In this case, the work of an advocate. Part three is the other part I mentioned. At Bowdoin, I'll continue to work towards building a community for myself and others. Great, how? I'm really hoping this student gets specific. By joining FemPower, I can work alongside peers to directly engage with social justice issues and increase female representation on campus and beyond. Yes, thank you for getting specific. Next sentence. Through the Muslim Student Alliance, I hope to facilitate interfaith dialogue. Yes, thank you for staying specific. And as a dad jokes connoisseur who thrives on improv, I can't wait to spread laughter and joy across campus. It would have been rad if they had been like, through this particular opportunity, but hey, it's okay. As long as they're spreading dad jokes, I'm here for it. The ending reads, and someday, in addition to becoming a universal helping hand, I hope to become the first hijabi US ambassador to the United Nations, a journey I embarked on at Bowdoin. All right, let's break down this real quick. It's pretty simple, but it's really effective. Part one, basically the student is talking about, here's a moment that started it all. This is the moment that inspired me. Part two, the student says, here are some ways that I've taken action already. Part three, here are the ways that I hope to take these skills, values, qualities I've learned and make them happen on your campus through these particular opportunities. Now, you may be listening to this and thinking, but Ethan, I haven't traveled overseas, or I didn't have a formative moment. Or you may be like, you know what, Ethan, my word limit is so small, I don't know how I'm gonna fit all that in. Here's another approach. Check this example out. I'm a non-binary neuromarketing nerd, a Renaissance being at heart. At Columbia, I'd found a neuromarketing club to introduce this emerging field to peers, join the Queer Alliance, cook traditional Estonian sauerkraut for my roommates at Christmas, and join the Chinese calligraphy club to expand my repertoire and teach others the rare scripts I've learned. I'm here for sauerkraut, even if I can't pronounce it. But essentially what I love about this is the student jumps right into saying, hey, here's who I am, and here's what I want to bring to your campus. And get this, they start with something that doesn't necessarily exist yet. They're like, I'm going to create this thing. Rad. In the next paragraph, which you can find linked below this essay, the student talks about other specific ways that they would get involved. For example, in the Queer Alliance on campus. And you'll see that there's that connection back and forth between here's this thing about me, and then here's this way that I manifest that identity or that skill or that value on your campus. That's what we're trying to do here. And again, this structure is going to work for many different kinds of prompts, whether it's what will you bring to the campus? What's a social or community issue that's important to you? You'll notice that the essays that I mentioned above will essentially work for so many different kinds of prompts, and that's going to save you a whole bunch of time. It's writing what I call a super essay. And if you want to know more about that, Google super essay, college essay guy. Next step, you're probably wondering, okay, how do I get started? What do I do? Below this video, I've linked that if you really, really need me exercise, and I want you to spend at least, 5-10 minutes. There's a little work along video with some chill music, and start to think about what are some of those things that you could bring to a college campus. Even if you think you already know what some of those things are, spending 10 minutes, even that, just to brainstorm some more ideas can be really helpful. And yeah, if you wanted to figure out what are all the things you should be doing for the college admission process and get lots of free resources and guides, then yeah, you could maybe go to collegeessayguy.com, because we have those things. Be well, smash that like button, subscribe, all the things. Peace.